And welcome back, Firewood addicts, to another episode of Travis Does Firewood. Today we're going to be fixing this roof. So I built this roof last year sometime, a few months ago. I don't know, 6 months. I don't know what it was. Oh, I hope that you saw that episode. Anyway, I thought it was ingenious. Taking ICB tote bladders, taking off the top, taking off the bottom, and then cutting it on one of the corners, unfolding it to make transparent roofing, thick plastic, gonna last a long time. It was awesome. But I made a few mistakes. One was I was in a hurry to get it done. Two, I built it on the ground and then had to manually, heavily, with my arms, lift it into place or slide it on, and then figure out the angle and secure it. I didn't use any caulking or grommets when I did the screws from the top end of the plastic bladder into the wood to secure it. I only added two tote layers, 1 and 2. Therefore, there's no overhang here on the other side. I mean, it's like a few inches of overhang. So therefore, when it rains, the bottom may get wet. I need more overhang. For sure, it was leaking in that location, and then the location right here. And then another mistake I did is, I was in a hurry, and when I ripped down this tote, I didn't cut off the top and bottom. I cut one of the sides, leaving the top hold, and therefore this tote got kind of wavy. See, this one here is more straight. This one here on the back side is a little more doing this, which calls for not laying it flat, so it pools water up there, which is, if it pools and it's at a screw over time, that will leak. So I need this roof to be as waterproof as possible. Any roof when you're storing, or any shelter when you're storing firewood, needs to be as waterproof as possible. And I like this roof because it's reusing materials. A lot of people don't know what to do with the bladders. They just want the tote cage, right? Like most of us do. But I like how this is, light can still shine in here. It's shady, I'm out of the sun, but light still shines through here onto the wood to help support the seasoning, drying process, which I think is awesome. Most roofs, like you walk inside, it's gonna be dark. You're gonna use a tarp, you're gonna use comp, you're gonna use a tin roof, anything you can think of to shelter your firewood, you're gonna use. But this I like because it's still bright inside. So I started to split and stack off camera some of the conifer here. I'm sorry if you're upset about that. Sometimes I don't want to film this. I don't think it's that interesting to watch me split with the splitter. There's many channels that do that. I just think it's boring. But if you want me to do more of just me splitting, let me know. Anyway, so this section here is going to be for rackwood, again, like I had when I had the hemlock here. Other side here is going to be for bundlewood. Right here. So I started doing that. Another thing what I didn't do is I didn't have a divider between the two sections that was secure. Right now, this section is secured, not gonna fall over, because as I was depleting, taking from this section of wood, I took more of the rack wood that did the bundles, and the divider that I had in here keeled over, making the hemlock stack before just kind of bloop, bloop, over the side. So I have a plan. I'm going to take this roof off, and then I'm going to add a third section, and I'm going to hopefully make it better. I hope we make it better. So bear with me. Let's see what I can do, and let's go. So I was going to use a tractor to start taking off the roof. So I had these washers and screws with no caulk or anything to seal it, so my bad. Anyway, I was gonna use a tractor bucket with forks on it to lift this thing up off its frame. I wish it would have been cool, and I think that you would have all enjoyed that, but I didn't know how I was gonna build it down the floor and then have it be made up here. So I'm just gonna try to do this up on a ladder up on here and see how it goes. So bear with me, I'm gonna take this off. All right, roof is off, not too difficult to do. The front part was right here, then the other one is over yonder, and I have a third piece in mind. I just didn't put up last time because it was dirty inside and I wanted to clean it, and it's clean enough for this, what we're gonna do with it. Anyway, this is the structure of the roof that I had, that I made. Now, because I'm cheap, I'm thrifty, I don't want to buy brand new lumber and make shelters, which has bite me in the butt before. And this, I think, is one of them too, but I'm gonna make it better with scrap lumber. Anyway, what I did last time was I had a bunch of like shorty 2x4s. This one here is about 4 feet long. Oh, the rough cut there. It's another 4 feet long piece, and then I would put them together with, like, I'll call that like a gusset. Now, I think the gusset should have been a little bit longer. I didn't have longer ones, and I didn't want to cut longer 2x4s just to make those gussets. So over time, these started to sag, and the cross members didn't match. It's just a hodgepodge of structure to make a roof. And I mean, it worked what, for almost a year. I don't know when that video came out, but it's not working. So I have an idea, but for now I'm gonna take the roof structure all apart and start from scratch. Now, yes, I can go to the store, I can go to Home Depot, or the local hardware store, whatever, buy tin roofing, buy a bunch of 2x4s and a galvanized screws and all the happy jazz, but then that eats into my profit of firewood. If I can get materials for free and repurpose them, reuse them, recycle them, then I earn more profit. But because anything I have to do with firewood, I buy with firewood money to keep things separate. That's just how I do my financials. You can do however you want to, just how I do it. But this is not had bitten me too bad in the butt. But I think we're just gonna start from scratch, redo it. I have an idea of having to reuse these same 2x4s. It's not in a manner like this. So I'll take it apart. You don't need to be there with me. I'll take this apart real quick, and I'll get back at you. Taking things apart, putting things together, that's why I like screws. You just screw it in, screw it out, you're done. Yes, I could have the air pressor going with my nail guns and just hammer this together. Maybe a little cheaper and faster, but then what happens when you want to take it apart? If you want to take it apart, when you want to take it apart. You have to cut it down or hammer it. Screws, that's the way to go. Anyway, the roof structure is gone. These are braces actually here to support these pallet walls. You know, the hodgepodge. Don't worry about that. That's something different. That's terrible. But anyway, we have these bracing here. But the roof structure has been taken down, dismantled. Everything, all the parts are right here. Just pieces of 2x4. Now, I told you that I want to reuse these 2x4s. Let me show you what I have in mind. All right, so you've probably seen these in the background of a few of my most recent videos, and you may have thought to yourself, Travis, what in the holy heck are those things? So these are 8-foot rips from plywood. This one here is probably, what, 1/4 inch thick, maybe 5/8 of plywood, and there's like a sheen to it. These are from the local cabinet shop that is right next to me, half a mile up the hill, and they leave scrap lumber outside for free. People will come and take it, and I've scored these pieces. So I was trying to figure out what to do with them. What my plan is to take these shorter pieces of plywood, have them on here, end on end, and then screw them into the plywood on end like this, and use these as the roof structure lengthwise. I think that's gonna work well. So that's what I'm doing. I'll just put these together, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I use the plywood to make one full board. So I have screws every about 2 feet, 2 pieces of the 2x4 that have been cut. So now this is one longer piece. So this is more or less 8 feet long. So this is going to be, I believe, the going east and west. So one there, one there, one there. This way on end. So what I'm thinking about is adhering the new piece, this lip here at the plywood, tip it on end, right, and then here to this and these other ones, and then of the other plywood strips that I have, laying the other direction, perpendicular, north-south, on that way every, I guess, 4 feet or so, or like 39 inches or so, and using that to adhere to the bladder. So similar to doing like a tin roof, doing it that way. So I hope that would work. Yes, and again, time is money. Travis, you just saved a lot of time just going to the store and buying lumber. Yeah, probably. But I can guarantee that these boards that are 8 feet long are definitely a lot straighter than the crooked trees that they make lumber for the Lowe's and the Home Depot. I mean, this was like Home Depot lumber, right? Just saying.
2,000 years later.
I'm calling it done. So fast forward several, I think literally this roof has been off for I think months and bare, and I started it and I got preoccupied, then busy in Vermont, and it's just, I need to get, fall is gonna be here. I can guarantee, so this week is gonna be all sunny, and guaranteed next week is gonna be rain. And this wood here, I want this cover done. So I dropped a few hours yesterday and today. I got it done. I didn't film it because it's easier for me to show you what I did. So, to recap, this is my part 2 of ICB tote roofing for firewood storage. Okay, it's done. So I use three IBC totes, bladders, 3 strings, and then I ended it with some metal roofing. So not pretty, but I'm calling this functional. I'm calling this functional. Okay. In here, yeah. So this got, I don't know, this was the inside of a bladder, some tar stuff. I don't know what that is. So I put that on the top side. So when it go down on the firewood, definitely I cut the middle one incorrectly. In terms of we're using chainsaw to cut that one time, but before I had two rows. Now I have 3. They're different lengths a little bit, and there is overlap. So it's sloping this direction. Enough overlap, maybe 2-3 inches will overlap them each, so it all flows down. There's some air gaps on the top one at the peak, but because I couldn't reach far enough to drill down in there. So and then this was short, so I just used some tin roofing. So not pretty at all. I know a lot of you are gonna shake your head saying, Travis, that looks just butt ugly and you should be ashamed of yourself. But hey, all the materials I had on hand. Okay, using oil-based caulk that I had laying around, to kind of seal it. Last time I didn't use caulk, I just used screws. I used screws and washers. These are like 1 1/4 washers. They should be galvanized. These are not, because they're cheaper than galvanized. And then I use the duct tape of all screws, drywall screws. These things can go through anything. They're short enough, not too long, and you don't need like a T20 or T25 bit. Phillips is fine. So drywall screws for the win. To screw them in to secure it, and then whatever holes I see through the bottom, or the bottom end, I'll caulk and seal to make sure that it's waterproof. So on the other side, I put some scrap plywood going perpendicular to my trusses that are makeshift trusses, right? And then so I use these strips to be able to screw down the roof to, and it gives it some rigidity. Again, not perfect. I kind of eyeballed the pitch, but I think there's enough pitch so the water will slope down. And now, if you can see, because I used now 3 tote bladders, we have overhang, folks. This side here overhang, and over here a little bit overhang too. Before, we didn't have overhang on the shelter. It was like sheer straight to the edge of the firewood stacks, and so the water would end up dripping down at the bottom. So the bottom got kind of wet. Not ideal. In this area, when it rains, we get like sideways rain, horizontal, like, and as well as if it's rain will splatter on the ground and then splatter the mud up onto the wood. I had that happen over there behind me. So not ideal by any means, but I think this is a lot better. I don't have enough I don't have any more bladders left over. I kept the one that was dirty because I didn't know what to do with it. I was gonna power wash it, but you know, I decided, you know what, let's just throw it up there. Let's just get it done and call it good. I left some of the scrap plywood overhang where it's not covered with the bladder over this tote of cottonwood. So what I'll do is I'll take like a tarp and kind of like dupe it over so this can be protected. So I think this is still a really good idea, because a lot of us now are turned on to the ICB tote cages to store, to transport, to move, deliver firewood. It's a good idea. Either is it stocked like this, or it's hand tossed like I do, whatever. But a lot of times they come with these totes, and you don't know what to do with them. So so a few months ago I had an idea. Let's cut them up with the chainsaw and use them for roofing. I think it was last year. Well, that was a thrown together idea, and I didn't do it properly. So now I think this is better. I need to still fix the shelter, but I think this is going to keep the wood a lot drier. So there, it's done. It's done, and I will keep you, if you're interested, I'll keep you updated on this whole thing. Just simple geometry. Make sure you have pitch, make sure you have overlap so the water can flow down from the top to the bottom, therefore keeping the wood dry. And I maintain again that in my area, I need to cover my wood. I can't afford wood to be out in the open all year round. It has to be covered. Now this was uncovered for all the summer. Most of my mud stack that does not have a permanent cover was uncovered. All the cedar here, uncovered. We have some alder right there, uncovered. Some cookies, uncovered. These rounds still need split here, but this maple was covered. But the other portion of the maple here, this was not covered. Same with this fir spruce mix here, uncovered. Okay, so so we had a hot summer. It was good. Just a few months of wind and blue skies, and it just like beaming on the stuff, and that's good. But now I need to cover it with a tarp or a makeshift something to make sure that I don't go backwards in time. I need to keep the season and not have it go back to being wet, because it's not like we get like rain in the morning for a little bit of drizzle and then it burns off. No, we can have days upon weeks of constant gray and constant rain. If you've never been to the Northwest during the rainy season, I don't think you quite understand the amount of rain that we get. So I maintain that. So anyway, I digress. Anyway, I maintain that I need to have my wood covered, or I'm going to go backwards. So I think the shelter turned out. Hang on, let me get out of the sun. So I think the shelter turned out great. Now I'll say again, like it's not very attractive. It's quite ugly from the road. Let me climb up here. See the top. And hey, it's functional. And hey, it was free. I believe I got all these bladders for free. Sometimes when you buy cages, you have to buy the bladders too, or you buy them with the bladders. They cost a little extra. Well, I mean, this is a great use of them. Definitely not flat, definitely not perfect, but I think if it does the job, rock and roll. And I think it wasn't like a if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing. This was leaking. I had several spots in here that were wonky. By adding the third bladder, I think it's going to help with having overhang, which I think is going to be key. So you see how I use the caulk and the washer and the screws, and then any other holes that I made last time I screwed it down were found and caulked over. But we'll see how this goes. We'll see. I'll keep you updated. But I think this is a win. Of you already have them, cut them up, and throw them up there as a semi-permanent shelter, a roof to cover your wood. A lot of us can't afford tin roofing, or the whole plywood thing doesn't work. We are way beyond using blue tarps, that's for sure. Way beyond using blue tarps. So, yeah. I mean, am I nuts? Am I crazy? Do you like this idea? Am I on to something? Do you have bladders in your yard that you're trying to figure out what to do with? Do you wood that you want to cover but don't know how to cover it? Well, let me know. This is what I did, and this is all for scrap. All this wood, scrap. Only thing, and I already had the screws, the caulk, the tools. I didn't cut anything. All the wood I will leave full length. And yeah, I think this is awesome. So finally closing down this episode. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And remember, life's too short to be a prick. So be kind to one another. Stay safe, keep up, and rock and roll. Cheers.